About 10 years ago, when I was in Corsicana at Immaculate Conception Catholic Church, I was preparing for a pilgrimage with some young adults to go to World Youth Day in Brazil, at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And someone had given me $500 to use on that pilgrimage. They asked me to use that for the good of the other young adults. And I thought, that's great, that's fantastic, I'll use that for them. And 3 days before the pilgrimage, a young man comes into my office. And the young man is about 20 years old, and he was a student. He was an electrical engineering student at University of Texas of Arlington. And his particular situation was that he was undocumented. He was one of the DACA students, and therefore he did not qualify for financial aid for FAFSA. And he was in a situation where he was asking the parish to provide for the tuition for his school. And so we talked about that and made an agreement of some sort. But something kept inside of me said, you need to give that student that $500. And I said, no. In my mind, I said, no, that I don't give people money like that. I don't know if he's going to use it for something good or if he's going to use it in another way. That's not good. Now, everything about this young man was noble and upright and good, even if certain politicians would tell us that something different. And you know what I'm talking about. But that voice came back to me and said, yeah, you need to give this man that money. So after it came back to me, I said, okay, I need to give this to him. And I sadly was like, I can't give this to the other young adults that I was going to spend this money on. And so I asked the man just to wait. I didn't tell him anything. I said, just wait here. And then I went and I retrieved the funds and I gave it to him. And he was appreciative, and that was that. He continued his studies to graduate from University of Texas of Arlington. So I'm getting ready the next day to go on the pilgrimage. It was going to be the following day. And this man shows up, and he asks for me. And he's standing in the middle of the garden, actually the similar place that I handed the money to the young man. And he said, Father Jason, why did you tell me you're going on pilgrimage with some young people? I was like, I don't know. I didn't need to tell you that. I knew this guy. I started to get to know this guy. And he goes, well, here, take this and use it for the young people. And he gave me a white envelope. And guess what was inside the white envelope? It wasn't $500. It was $5,000. The message was loud and clear to me that those funds, whatever funds that I receive, whether it's through a salary or a wage, or whether it was from someone's gift, even if I was going to give it to someone else, they're not mine. I'm simply a steward of that. All of it has been given to me freely by God. Without cost, you have received. Yes, I might work, but God is the one who gave me the ability to work. God is the one who's given me the ability to have a job. God is the one that gave me an intellect and hands and feet. God is the one who has given me an education. God has given me the opportunity. It all comes to us by the hand of God. Freely, we have received this. We are simply stewards of all that He's given us. And He says, without cost you have received. And then what does He say? without cost. You are to give. I've given you all these things. And what I expect is that you are to give freely as well. A long time ago, I realized that I'm never going to allow someone to borrow something from me. No. If someone needs something, I give it to them. I either give it to them or I don't. I don't allow them to borrow. Because if I'm allowing them to borrow something, then I'm not freely giving it to them. I'm giving it with cost. Once again, these are gifts, these are things that God has given to me. And I'm freely just asked to be able to I'm asked to be a steward of those things. Now, Jesus even says in different places that it doesn't mean we're to hold on to them and not allow them to grow and develop. We're supposed to multiply what he has given to us. But the thing is that we're stewards of those things. And he asks us to give those freely without demanding a cost. Now, this is counterintuitive to our American society. We're always constantly looking for a good deal. My parents said the other day that there's a grocery store down the road that is going out of business, 30 to 50% off on all the things that are inside that grocery store. And what did I do? I went over there to look for a good deal, right? That's part of what we think of. And I ended up spending way too much money, getting things that were nicer than what I normally get. But we do that all the time. But with the things of God, when working with God, and ultimately with our lives, it's not about how much we should expect back. He's given us freely everything. And as grateful stewards of what he has given, we freely give back to him. When we do so, with prudence and wisdom, we will live a more happy and joyful life.